and this is the output. See how amazing is this result? How amazing, like really good. And let me play it again. So this we see entire, it goes in the living room, and then we get a drone shot, and there is Sagrada Familia in the background, so it feels like you are in Barcelona. Yes, the location is not really correct, but I love playing with this frame change sequence. Please try this, you will really be blown with this. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Kedar, and on this channel we talk about design, architecture, parametric design and generative AI. And today's video is actually going to be a continuation of my last video where we looked at WAN 2.2's image to video capabilities and understood some of the key concepts like how these models are trained. That could be video diffusion model, WAN 2.1 or WAN 2.2, and looked at some of the prerequisites like what is a good prompt structure to follow for WAN, some of the camera motion we can add in the prompt, like we could add a drone shot, a pan shot, orbit shot, things like that. Then what is FPS, which is frames per second, and like I said, the ideal number would be 16 because in the training process they have a batch of 16 that goes in the training set, so 16 would be ideal. For smooth result you can also use 24 FPS, which is 24 frames per second. Then we looked at WAN's website where basically you can add your prompt, image, and you will get a 5-second 1080p output. This works with credits, so you need to add money in the website. And then we resolved the model confusion because we had a 5 billion model, 14 billion model, a digital LoRa, a GUF model, and came to a conclusion that a combination of a digital LoRa with a GUF model will help you to get a faster result. And lastly, we broke down the entire image to video script inside of ComfyUI, understanding the concepts of text encoder, model sampling, LoRa's, and what parameter work well with each of these nodes to get a really good, nice output. So last week's video was really technical in understanding all of the base concepts. Don't worry, today's video is not going to be so technical. We'll be only building upon what we have learned in the last video and looking at some of the other things that WAN 2.2 can do, where we will look at its text to video capabilities, text to image capabilities, which are really good, and you will see further in the video. Then the first last frame to video, which basically means you give WAN the first frame and the last frame and the in-between frames it will generate for you. And then lastly, we will upscale some of the videos again using WAN model itself. But before we jump into WAN, ComfyUI actually had an update to its interface, and this is how the new ComfyUI looks. And I think it's a really nice update. I really like the clean aesthetics that they're going towards. Now let's see some of the few things that has actually changed in this new interface. So the first thing you will notice at the bottom right hand side, you have something called as a mini map now, which basically allows you to zoom in and zoom out there itself rather than the entire canvas. So I've recorded a short video to show you what mini map does. So basically now you can zoom in, zoom out in the mini map, of course. But what it is really good for, let's say for some reason your script goes entirely off, you can simply click on the mini map and you can see the script now. And this I think is a really good feature because I have had instances where my script is somewhere else I don't know. So now I can directly click there and get my script back. So this is one of the changes that they have done. So if you go close to mini map, you will see this icon. And if you click on it, you will be able to see these different preview methods. Now these preview methods don't affect the overall script, but only affect the mini map. So you can change all of this and see what visually looks good for you only for the minimap. Okay, so this is the first update that they have. Now let's see some of the other updates. So if you remember earlier on the top left hand side, we had file, edit and things like that. Now all of them go inside this C icon. So if you click on it, you will get the same things, but they are inside this particular icon. Again, makes the aesthetic look much cleaner. Then the templates icon, which was inside file, now has come outside. So if you click on templates, you will get back all your templates. And then at the bottom left hand side, you will see these three icons. The first one is more like about, which will have your help, GitHub, Discord, and which Comfy version you are using. So you see this was released 1 hour back and I've updated it. And then below here is where you will see now the logs, which was at the top right hand side, has now come here. I'm still getting adjusted to it. I always go on top right hand side and also wonder, oh, where is the logs? But now it is come here. So this, we have the logs here. And now below this, they have something called as a shortcut panel. If you click on this, you will see some of the shortcuts that you can use inside of ComfyUI for essential and view controls. And if you go to the right side, you have something called as manage shortcuts. So you can either edit the shortcuts that have or add new shortcuts. So that's another update that we have. And the next update, in my opinion, is one of the major update, which is called a subgraph. Now, what does this mean? This means that whenever you have a long script and you don't want to see all of it, you can now compress all of them into one single node, which is what a subgraph means. Of course, you can rename it as well. For instance, in this particular subgraph, all of these nodes exist. So you can define whatever is the input and output you want, and only that can be seen rather than seeing the entire node. And this is really helpful when you have a script where things are just copy pasted multiple times. You can now compress them in one subgraph, and you can only get the input and the output. I will make a dedicated video on this in maybe a couple of weeks because I want to test it further, but I think this has to be the major update with ComfyUI, which is the subgraph. Okay, so that's broadly what has been updated with ComfyUI, which is the changing of some of the icons, adding a minimap and adding a subgraph. Okay, and now finally let's jump into WAN 2.2 and see how good it is for text to video. So now let's go to ComfyUI, let's go to templates, let's go to video, and this is the one that we want, which is WAN 2.2 14B text to V workflow. So if you click on it, it will ask you to download the models. The first one you will already have, the text encoder. The next one will change because last time we downloaded I2V, which means image to video. This time we need to download T2V, which means text to video. So you can download the text encoder, and now they've also included the LoRa's here itself, so that's really nice. But I would not recommend you to download this 13 GB model. Instead, you can download a GUF model. So that's what I will also be doing for this workflow. So I will download a GUF model instead of diffusion model. So I'll go to this Hugging Face again, because last time I had downloaded I2V, which was image to video. Now I need to download T2V. So I will download a T2V for high noise, which in my case I'm going to use Q5KM for high noise and Q5KM for low noise. Okay, and then we also need to download a VAE, which if you have already downloaded, you don't need to download again. So you go to manager, model manager, you can type WAN, and this is the VAE that we need, which is WAN 2.1. So that's all you need. Only thing is that last time we downloaded model for image to video, which were I2V. This time we need to download for T2V, which is text to video. Okay, and then let's look at the Comfy workflow, which is really similar to WAN 2.2 image to video. The only thing that has changed is that here in between, if you remember, we had a WAN image to video node. Now this is gone. The prompts directly go into the K sampler. Okay, so this one is your prompt, which is your positive, negative plus your text encoder. And then you have your K sampler, model, LoRa and VAE. This part is going to be for high noise. This part is going to be for low noise. Again, let me remind you, because they work with mixture of experts, the high noise creates the overall layout and the low noise adds the detailings to it. And then we need to add this empty Hunyon latent video, which basically allows you to add what is the resolution of the video that you want and how many frames you want. And lastly, we have video combine, which combines all of them into a video. Very, very straightforward and simple workflow. And now let's see some of the results from WAN text to video. Now here in this case, I will be using the same 4 prompts that I did in my previous video. The first one was changing the season with an architecture. The second is the cat and the bee having interaction. The third is a car moving with origami city in the surrounding. And the fourth one is going to be an exploded thali. Okay. And the way that I formatted this slide is on the left side, you will see the total prompt. And on the bottom right hand side, you will see all the details of the model, generation time and the steps that I have used. Okay. And let's see the output. It does architecture. It converts the season. Yes, in this case, the outputs are not going to be that clear because in this case, the image is also generated by WAN. So I would really not prefer using text to video. I prefer much rather using image to video because at least I have total control over what is going in the diffusion process with WAN. But this is going to be a drawback with text to video, not just with WAN, with other apps as well, which I will show you later on. And the second prompt is with bee and cat. And the B is super big for cat, but it follows the prompts, gives the result, and it's nice. And then next one is this car in the origami city, changing the time of the day. I wish the surrounding looked more origami and not like this school paper model, but it does change the time of the day, so that's fine. And in the last case, this is an exploded thali view. I really wanted it to completely explode. But again, this is some of the limitations with text to video, not just with WAN, with all other apps as well. So I have tested a few of the apps just to see if the drawback with text to video is only for WAN or with other apps as well. So I've compared the WAN with 8 apps, which is going to be Luma's Dream Machine, Pika Labs, Runway ML, Kling 2.1, Cdance, Adobe Firefly because I had Adobe subscription, Pixverse and Minimax. So let's see with again the same 4 prompts what we get with these different apps. And in the bracket, I have added what is the monthly subscription in USD and INR. And now let's check all of this output. Just to remind you, the idea is that it is an architectural space. So you have a drone shot and the season change from summer to winter. And with all of these apps, I just did the first output. I did not wait for it to do multiple output and choose the best one. I just went on the app. The first output that I got, I selected, I am showing you because I didn't want to add my own filtration process in it. So just wanted to show you what the first output are from these apps. Okay. So with WAN 2.2, it does a drone shot, summer change, really good. With Luma, I don't really like the output. Yes, we see snow falling, but I don't see the change of the season, and architecture wise, it is not really good, to be honest with you. On the other hand, Pika does a good job. There is a drone shot. And also we see the change of season. So this is really good understanding of prompt. Runway ML, I don't know what has happened to it. The architecture looks more like a tent. The season does not change, but we have a drone shot. Architectural wise, I like Kling 2.2. I like the design and I like the Unreal Engine effect that it has. But it does not change the season and did not have a drone shot. The same drawbacks that we have with Kling also go with Sedans as well. Architecture is nice, the output is nice, but no change in season and no drone shot. Then Adobe Firefly was more like a wild card. I was not expecting anything from it and it did such a good job in comparison to all of the other apps. Okay. Pixverse, again, not a really good output. Again, does not change the season and is not a drone shot. Minimax, on the other hand, follows the prompt correctly. It does change the season and I also like this snow effect that's happening. Really nice. So again, like I said, none of these apps do really well for text to video. They do good really for image to video, but this is a good platter of apps that I have tested. And if you feel like, oh no, this is really good for some cases, you can go with that app. Now with the second cat example, again, these are going to be really funny. WAN 2.2, again, the bee is super big, but I like the output. With Lumas, the cat is eating the bee. I don't know what's happening. There was supposed to be an interaction. You're not eating. What is this? I don't know why with Pika the cat looks so soft. Like it looks like it's made up of sponge. You see its paw or hand. Doesn't really do anything. Okay. I like the output from Runway. I don't know where is the bee. Is this green thing supposed to be a bee? I don't know. And then with Kling, the output quality is really good. The cat and the bee have an interaction. What I would have liked to see is the grass moving or the clouds moving. So it would look more that everything is in motion. With Sedans, the output is really nice. It is a bit cartoony, but it does what it was asked for, interaction between a cat and the bee. So it's good. Adobe Firefly, again, playing a wild card, did actually way better than what I was expecting. The bee came, sat on the cat and the cat woke up. So you see? Adobe Firefly is doing quite well, surprisingly, you know. Pixverse, the output is very AI. So you can understand that this output is like AI output. I don't like the quality of it. It does what it is asked. Then we have output from Minimax. I like the output. I don't know why it came out dull. Like I like how this cat has a Pixar kind of effect to it. Both cat and the bee. Really nice, but I don't know why it was dull. I could have post-produced and make it bright, but didn't want to do that. And then with the car example, with an origami kind of a city, with WAN 2.2 changes from day to night, really okay output. None of these have justified to this prompt, really. None of these have done good job. Luma, I don't know. This looks like a school project. Really, nobody's going to buy this. Look at it. It is so bad. Pika, on the other hand, does a good job of converting time from morning to night, but it's just like a time-lapse warp. Runway, I don't know what is happening. This reminds me of some of the old games where you would crash a car, the car would go through mountains constantly. This looks more like that. Kling, on the other hand, you feel like this is a commercial of a car, but it's not. It has to be the overall city and the time of the day does not change as well. I really like the output from Sedans in this case. It kind of makes the city origami. It does change from morning to evening, not to night, but I find it really nice in this particular case. Adobe Firefly, please don't have any expectations with it much. It is just going in reverse. It's fine. It's doing its job. I also like the output from Pixverse. I just wish it could have done from day to night, but I like the setting that it has done. Really nice. And with Minimax, again, I don't know what's happening. It's just a drone shot and then the car headlights will change. This prompt, clearly all of them have struggled. If I have to choose one for this particular prompt, it has to be Sedans. because the city looks nice. It is not focused overly on the car, but also on the entire city, and the time of the day changes from morning to evening, not to night. So I will give them that much. But again, this prompt, I don't know. Maybe you can try this prompt and see which app does a good job. Then we have the Exploder Thali prompt. Again, WAN does a good job, but I wanted it to completely explode. With Luma, I don't see my thali. It's just food falling from the air. I don't know what am I supposed to do with this. What is happening? And then with Pika, actually you see the thali being exploded, which is nice. So food falls down and then you see this wooden board. Nice. At least it follows the prompt. And with the runway, I don't know. There is no explosion. It looks like this could have been taken by somebody through a camera and runway is just reproducing it. I don't know what's happening with runway. And then with Kling, there is a thali, there is an explosion, but not so much. With Sedans, actually there is an explosion, some food falls out and there is a thali view. Again, Adobe Firefly outputs have been the most interesting to me. You see, this kind of reminds me of the particle simulation. All the rotis have become particles, even the food has become particles. Really funny. Then with Pixverse, again, there is an explosion. I like this explosion. This is what I was looking for. It does not do the orbit or a top view, but there is an explosion and that's fine. And with Minimax, I don't know what is happening. It's just thali falling on the table. So my point being that none of these apps do really well for text to video. Again, this is with first go. If I try multiple times, it will. If I had to choose one app apart from WAN 2.2, I think I would go with Kling, because it at least has a visual output that looks nice. Then maybe Sedans would be a good one, or Pixverse. The rest, I really don't know what to do with it. Okay, so now let's see how to do this in ComfyUI. I'm just going to make the base script super quick, just one example, and then we move forward. Okay, so I have opened ComfyUI, and now let's see how to do the text to video script inside of ComfyUI. And like I said, this is the new cleaner interface, and you have your minimap here. Okay, so the first thing is we say unit loader, and here you need to take your GUF model that you have downloaded. It has to be text to video. So I say T2V high noise. Let me pull this here. So you see it's a high noise Q5KM. Then we say LoRa loader model only. In this case, I'm going to take 2.1, and then we need to say model sampling. In this case, the shift can be 8, which is fine. So keep it here. And then we take K sampler advanced. So we say K sampler advanced. We connect the model to model. Okay. Now in this case, we need to change something. So add noise needs to be enabled. That's correct. Seed could be any number, doesn't really matter. Randomize, yes. Steps, I will keep it 8. CFG, I will keep it to 1. Sampler, scheduler, both are fine. Now the start of the step has to be 0, and then the end of the step needs to be half of the total step. So the total is 8, the end will be 4, and then we need to enable this. So this is our high noise setup. The same thing I can copy, Control C, Control V, and this will be our low noise setup. Now in this case, the latent from high noise will go to the latent of low noise. Okay, and we only need to change the model here. So now which was high noise become low noise, and some things need to be changed here. So add noise, we say disable. Noise, we keep it to 0, and then we need to make this fixed because we want the noise from high noise. The step CSD sampler scheduler is fine. Now here we start with 4 because we need to carry forward from the high noise. The end is just a high number, doesn't matter. And the last one we say disable. Then we need to decode this. So we say VAE decode. We connect the sampler latent to sample, and then we need to say load VAE. In this case, we take a WAN 2.1, and then we video combine this. Now in this case, frames, I will keep it to 24. This could be any name you want. Maybe let's say test 1. And this format has to be H.264. Okay. Then we need to add the latent here. So we say empty neon latent video. Now here you can specify what is the width and the height of the video you want. I will keep it 480 by 480 so it becomes fast. Then what is the length? So I will keep it 73 so it becomes 3 seconds, and connect it here. And then I need to add my prompt. So first I say load clip. So I can load the text encoder. In this case, it's going to be the same one. And then we take 2 text encoder, one for our positive prompt. So I can make this as green, and one for our negative prompt, which I can make this as red. Okay. So this is the overall workflow. Now clip goes to clip for both of the side. The conditioning positive goes to positive. The same positive goes to both of the positives with the both K sampler, and the negative to both of the negative K sampler. Okay. And this is how the workflow looks like. So this is your high noise. This is your low noise. We're combining here. This is whatever resolution you want and what is the prompt you want. So I've added a simple prompt which says a handheld shot of an urban city at night. The view is captured from inside an airplane as if a person sitting next to the window is recording with a phone. Okay. I changed the resolution a little bit. I changed it to 720 by 400, making it 16 by 9. And this is the output that I got. I actually like that this is blurry, because this is sometimes how you get the output when you're sitting in a plane and you record something. And I like how this window looks like it's an airplane window. So you understand the concept of how text to video works with WAN. You simply now add any particular text, change the resolution, and this is the output you get. Okay. So I'm going to group this and then bypass it. So Control G. So this will be WAN 2.2 text to video, and then I will bypass this. So Control B. So this is the first script that we did today. Yay. Nice. So I've made a few examples to show you, because it would take a lot of time for me to keep rendering and back and forth with the video and things like that. So let's see some of the videos. I'm just going to jump back to my presentation. So like I said, I've made some tests using the same workflow, just changing the prompt and getting the output. The resolution is a little bit different, and you will see some of the outputs that I have got. Again, the format is same. On the left side, you will see a prompt. On the right hand side below, you will see all the resolution and all the details that I have used. Now in the first example, I wanted to explore a symmetrical composition in like an underground city with the principle of modular aggregation. So I'm going to play this. And I don't know why that lady is running or hopping like that, but it does make it symmetrical. So if you see here, everything is very symmetrical apart from the colors of this particular background wall. I would have liked to see the principles of modular aggregation more, which basically means like the cubes are combining, distorted, and kind of creating a very chaotic space. It did not do that, but I guess it's fine. And then in the next example, I wanted like a pixel art style, fisheye lens, and Sonic video game. I really love playing Sonic. And this is the output that you get. It resembles a Sonic, but I would have liked it to be more of a pixel art style. Well, everything is like made of small cubes. It does do a fisheye. You see how warped this cactus is. So somewhere hit and miss. And in the next one, I wanted a 3D print to grow to see if does it actually print the layers in like a fluidic and organic space in the background. But you see, it does not really print. The size of the house just became small to big. Let me play it again. So you see it was small and now it became big. I was hoping it to do the layers and that would have looked really nice, but this is what we got. The next one has to be my favorite. So here I am exploring a frame change sequence where basically you tell what happens in the first sequence, second, and the third. Now here I'm saying like this is a building in Barcelona. You see Sagrada Familia in the background. Then it jumps to a living room shot and then to an aerial drone shot. And this is the output. See how amazing is this result? How amazing. You know, like really good. And let me play it again. So this we see entire, it goes in the living room and then we get a drone shot and there is Sagrada Familia in the background. So it feels like you are in Barcelona. Yes, the location is not really correct, but I love playing with this frame change sequence. Please try this. You will really be blown with this. Okay, let's take next one. Now in this case, I'm saying this is more of an architecture studio where there are architectural models, people are around it. I've also specified like materials. I said translucent glass, raw concrete, and colorful paper model. So let's see the video. And here in this case, I like the architecture that it has made way better than when I say just make an architectural building. This architecture looks really better. I don't know, maybe I need to prompt like this. And in the next one, I wanted to see the expression change of this husky dog to a surprised expression when it sees this bone in like a watercolor painting style. And this was the output. I really was hoping for its expression to change. At least a little bit of smile would have been appreciated for this big bone, but I guess it's fine. And then in the next one, I'm saying like a shoulder shot, which basically the camera is over your shoulder. Somebody is drawing a sketch of Taj Mahal. On the right hand side, you see there is like an arched window. It's a studio light setting. And on the wooden desk, the name Kedar is written on it. And this is the output. How cool is this? I'm going to mask myself here, and then this is me who is doing the sketch. I would have liked the name to come somewhere here, Kedar, which was I was saying as a wooden desk, rather it made on the chair. but I will take it. It does well with text as well. So these are some of the outputs from text to video, and it is good. Not as good as image to video, but it is really good. Do try it and see what outputs you get. Okay. And then I was seeing that there is something called as all-in-one model for WAN 2.2, which basically combines the low noise and high noise, and you get like a 21 GB model. I have tested with the version 8. So I tested with V8 of T2V 8.1. So I downloaded this 21 GB model and I wanted to test it. Is it actually good? And the workflow in ComfyUI looks like this. It is going to be your same basic ComfyUI workflow. In the beginning, you have your checkpoint model where you will load your all-in-one model. Then you will have your positive negative prompts. Then you will have your resolution and frames, which is how many images that you want per second. Then you will have your case sampler. Here there is no end step, start step, because everything goes together. And then you have your video combined. I want to tell you before seeing the outputs are not going to be good. I don't like this model. It is good for testing because it does quickly. Let me show you the output. Again, the same for example. In the first case, it does not convert day to night, but it is a 6-step output and takes only 4 minutes. Again, in this case, the architecture looks really bland. It does not change the season. But in case of cat example, the bee and the cat have an interaction. And I know why this might be. This might be because we are not adding a text encoder. These first two have a long prompt. In this case, it's a very simple 3-line prompt because bee and a cat have interaction. So if you have to use a all-in-one model, my recommendation would be to have a smaller prompt because we are not using a text encoder. And in this case, surprisingly, this exploded thali looks good. Focus here on the outside of the thali. I'm going to explode and you see we get more dishes. So this was nice. Again, the prompt of this is way less in words than the first two. So if you have to use all-in-one model, see to it that your prompt is less. Okay, so that's the basic test with all-in-one model. I would not recommend it, but if you want, you can test it out. And now let's take the most surprising part, which is text to image, and I was blown away by the output from WAN 2.2. So these again are our 4 go-to examples, and these are the prompts that I will be using to test what images it will generate. So when we say text to image, what do we mean? We mean that we want only one image. So what essentially changes is the length or how many number of frames you want, which reduce from 97 to 1. So because we only want one image. So then in that particular case, we don't even need empty Hunnion latent. We can go back to empty latent image because we don't really need a length of frames. We can only stick with one. So here are some of my tests. I actually wanted to figure out what workflow works best for text to image. So first I started with high noise plus low noise plus a LoRa, and this is the output resolution. Around 10 steps took around 2 minutes, and these are the output. They don't look really what I wanted it to be. Then I started wondering, do I need to use both of them or can I only use high noise? So then I modified my workflow to only use high noise plus LoRa, and then 10 steps, and this took around a minute. But these were the outputs. They were really noisy. And then I was like, maybe I just need a low noise. So I modified the workflow again. And now in this case, I'm using low noise plus a LoRa, and it took around a minute again. And these are the outputs. How amazing are these outputs? Can you see how vibrant and how nice they look? And this is the workflow that we will be exploring today as well. It does not use both the models. It only uses the low noise model because we only need to add detailings and we don't have number of frames. We only have one single image. And the workflow looks something like this. It's a very simple workflow. So you add your prompts using again a text encoder, because the more elaborate you can be with your prompt, the more better result you will get. And then here you will add your resolution. Basically we have one frame and then what is the size of the image that you want. And here will be your case sampler, model, VE and LoRa's. And then here at the end, I simply upscaled it quickly using the upscale by model method. And lastly, you get the output. And I also wanted to compare this with different models to see really where does it stand. So these are the comparisons with Midjourney, Fluxmania and SDXL. And you will see it gives a tough competition for all of these models. My favorite still has to be Fluxmania, which I use. I need to make a video on Flux, right? Okay, some other time. Right now, let's finish WAN 2.2. There are so many videos that I want to make. It's insane. Just don't have enough time. And in the next cat example, I think here in the case, the winner is going to be Midjourney for me, just for the aesthetic quality of it. we can't really beat Mid-Journey in the aesthetic quality. Really, it is really good. And then I think the second has to go to WAN, then FluxMania. HDXL now really lacks, but I guess it is what it is. But here you see, even though WAN is a video generation model, it does such a good job with image generation. Really gives a fight for all of these other models as well. And then in the car in Origami City a prompt, I think Mid-Journey is going to be the hands down winner. It just makes the overall image follow the same style because the car also looks like it is made up of paper, unlike the rest of the example. The second, I think the FluxMania and WAN I think are similar results, so the second one is really both of them. And then with the last exploded thali, here hands down the win goes to WAN 2.2. It does it. It explodes the thali. I think the second has to go to Mid-Journey, then FluxMania, and then HDXL. So basically you can see that WAN is a really tough competition and it does a really good job for text to image, and you can use it like any other text to image apps that you're using. Now the other interesting part that I figured out of WAN, that it works really well for denoising as well. So if you don't know what denoising means, we explored it I think 2-3 months back. I will link the video somewhere up here. I think it generally goes on the right hand side corner, so somewhere there. So basically what denoising means is that in K-sampler you have this value, which is the minimum is 0 and the maximum is 1. So what does this mean? So with 0 you're going to get a fully noisy image, and with 1 you are going to get a fully generated image that follows your prompt. Now in this sequence, if you add an input image, what does that mean? If you add any image, and if you make denoise of 0, it will go back to the input image, and if you make it 1, it is going to go to the complete to a prompt. But if we keep a denoise of let's say 0.5 and 0.6, is going to be a combination of your input image plus the prompt, and that is what was very interesting. So here you will see I put this input image and this as the prompt. With denoise of 0.5 I see more of food. Again with 0.6 I see more of food. And with 0.7, then I start actually seeing little bit of architecture and humans in this particular image. So what's happening here, it is taking image as well as your prompt. And with 0.8, you will see more architecture, but you see the color combination is coming from the input image. The same with 0.9, but when you make it 1, it is completely going towards the prompt. So ideally, in this case, the number of 0.7 to 0.9 worked for me. Okay, and this number will change depending upon each and every exploration that you do. For some case 0.5 works, for something 0.9 works. So this number will keep on changing. There is no ideal or a standard number. You will have to keep exploring it, and this is what the workflow looks like. I know this video is like a machine, this video, because there's nothing technical. I've already explored everything. So let me just jump quickly and give you whatever you need, and then you can explore it. So we have our load image. The second part is not mandatory. This is image resizing using whatever tools we have already used in the last video. Then we have our prompts, again using a text encoder. Then you have your K-sampler, you have your models and LoRa's. Again, in this case, we are using only the low noise model. We don't need high noise. And this part is upscaling, and then you get the output. As simple as that. Okay. Now let's see some of the tests that I have done. Now in this case, I'm using this cat as an input image with this prompt, converting it into an architecture. And I really like the first image with denoise of 0.65. If I could clean the grass and the spears up, this would be such an interesting architectural space. Or in this case, I don't know what I would have to prompt to get this ribbed structure, but because the cat has fur, it has transferred it onto this architecture. So sometimes I really find it fascinating the way outputs you get, which you might have not thought of with generative AI. And in the next one, this is again an exploded thali prompt. And you see where the cat is lying, the food is now come. There are bits and pieces of food here. Looks really great. The next one has to be my favorite. I have no idea how it took the shape of the cat with this naan, and there is rice here and there are blocks of paneer here. It looks so good. Trust me, I have not masked this. Somebody will say you might have masked this. I have not masked it. I have no idea how I got this result. Really nice. Okay. Then in this case, I have this image, and I again added the prompt of architecture, and you will see how these mountains have converted into an architectural spaces. The road goes and we have a water body here, and the trees kind of change. Really nice outcome. This is with denoise 0.8, and if I would increase it to 0.85, you only see the color combination have been carry forwarded, but doesn't have really influence of the input image. Okay, and then the same input image here, I wanted to add the cat in the scene. and you will see the output. So it removed the car, added the cat. It removed this tall trees and added grass, because here it says blades of grass and tiny flowers in the prompt. The next one, see how good this output is. I have no idea how to prompt this. Somebody will say I have used the word anime in the prompt, but you see there is no word anime anywhere in the prompt. You see how good it is. See the shades, see the light falling on the cat. It is so good, so realistic. I want to print this. But you understand the text to image capabilities of WAN 2.2 are really good, and if you couple that with denoising, it goes way further. Okay, so now let's see how to do that quickly in ComfyUI. Okay, so I've opened ComfyUI, and now let's see how to make text to image workflow with WAN 2.2. The first step is always going to be to take the GUF model. So we say load UNet. In this case, we need a T2V. Again, only the low noise. We don't need the high noise model at all. Then we need to take LoRa. The same thing again. In this case, WAN 2.1. One strength is fine. Then we need to take model sampling, ST3. In this case, I think the shift can be 8 for now. We can always change it. And then we can take a regular K sampler. We don't need to take a K sampler advanced. So I'm just going to say K sampler. So this is my model. And then we can directly take a empty latent. And this will define what is the size of your image. I'll keep it simple. 1024 by 1024. I want only one image. Now here in this case, we can define the remaining parts. So the seed, I will keep any random number. It's fine. Randomize is okay. Steps, I will keep it to 10. CFG, I will keep it to 2. Then Euler, simple are fine. Denoise has to be 1. We're not going to do the denoising part. Right now, we're just doing text to image. And then we need to decode this. So we say VAE decode. Then we need to take a VAE, load VAE. And this one again is going to be WAN 2.1. And then I will take a save image, and here I will say WAN text to image. Simple. Now we need to take two prompts. So we say load clip, and then we take the same clip that we had, which was this one. We take, and then we take text encode. We need two of these, one for positive, one for negative. Just gonna connect the positive to positive, negative to negative, and then I can copy the same thing that I had for negative here. And the positive prompt, I'll keep it simple, like just like elevation of a curved residence in a jungle. And I think let's run this. Okay, and now let's see the output. Interesting. It didn't do elevation. Why is that? Because this number model shift sampling is too big. So let's keep this to 8. And I also want to upscale this a little bit quickly. So I will say here upscale image using model. So this is my image, and I'm going to say upscale model loader. In this case, a 4x ultra sharp will be fine. We already explored upscaling. This is the same method. I will link the upscaling video here. So if you want, you can look at upscaling video as well. Then I say upscale image by, in this case, this one with 0.5, so that we get double the size of the image. And now let's see what output we get. Again, see, such a nice output. It's really good. Yes, my prompt is really simple. If I would make it more elaborate, the architecture would be really more elaborate, but it follows the prompt. It is seen in the jungle, there is water body. I will do one more test. I will elaborate the prompt and let's see what output we get. So this is little bit of elaborate prompt. Again, same, mostly elevation of a curved and organic residence in the jungle surrounded by dense trees and a calm water body. The scene is set in early morning during rainy season. Okay. And now I want to see what output I get with this. I'm going to say 720 by 400 because we already have an upscale added there. Then let's see what kind of results we get. And let's see the result. So this is the resolution of the image. And it is nice. And there's a curved organic architecture, again surrounded in a jungle, water body. I don't see rainy season much, but let's do one more pass. I think I need to increase the resolution. This is really less. So I'm going to change the resolution. So let's say 1024 by 576. And then let's run this again. And now let's see. This is a really nice output. This is a really nice result. I would have liked it to be more curved and organic. Is this rain droplets? But yeah, it looks good. Let's try once more. Let's try something else. Okay, so this is my next prompt where I'm saying an organic building made of bricks with parametric patterns set in Barcelona. And you can also see Sagrada Familia in the background. And let's run that and see what we get. Nice. I see Sagrada Familia here. I see the building here. really goes well with the prompt. None of these models really know how to make parametric patterns. Unless you impose an image, they really struggle with parametric forms. Talking about the bias again with generative AI. Let's see the result. So yes, we get a building made of bricks. Secretary Familia looks completely distorted, but I guess it's fine, and we get a good result. So you can test the text to image capabilities with WAN. It really is a good model even for just image generation. And now let's see how to do the denoising part of it. So I'm gonna group this, bypass this. So this is the second workflow we looked at today. So I'm gonna copy the same script for denoising, Control-C, Control-V, and then going to bypass it. Now here we need to say load image. Yeah, this cat image is fine. Something to fun explore with. Now we need to use this as an input. So we need to first delete the latent image. So we don't need this empty latent image because the size and resolution comes from load image. Then we need to say VAE encode. So we need to encode this image using the same VAE of WAN 2.1. So user come here and then we go here. Now in this case, all of these can come here and then this goes to the latent image. I can keep the same prompt. The only thing I need to do is change this denoise image. If I make it low, you will get the cat image. If I make it high, you will get the architectural image. So let's keep it around 0.6 and let's see what outputs we get. Okay, so clearly we just got the cat and now it's in the morning and rainy season. Damn the details. Okay. But what we have to do now, which basically means the denoising is going more towards the cat. So I need to increase it and make it 0.8. And the time that's taking, it is around 141 seconds. So it's 2 minutes because the resolution is 2400 by 2400. I need to resize this image. We do the same process that we do every time. We just say get resolution and divide it. So give me a second. Let me do that quickly. So then you can now resize image or the resolution. So now if I divide it by 2, my input will be 600 by 600. So now I need to resize the image. So I say image resize. So this is my input image. Now I get the width and the height from here. And then we don't need to change any of this. Generally it works well. And then this is what goes into the VAE encode, which is the new resolution of your image. That is actually half of it. And now let's run this again. And now this is going more towards the prompt than the cat. So that means I need to change this value to let's say 0.7. So this number of denoise you have to keep changing constantly until you find something that looks in between your prompt and your input image. Okay, and now you see we have cat's head and there is architecture here. Clearly this is not what I want. So I'm going to cancel this generation and I'm going to increase the denoise to 0.75. Maybe 0.72 is also fine. This is looking nice, at least in the preview. So it looks like these are cat's ears which have converted into trees. Interesting. And let's see the output. Yes. Now you're getting it, mate. Really looking nice. So if you want to understand if there is an influence or no, you will see these trees are there because the cat has ears and the overall composition also follows it. So I've taken this image of me, which is a quintessential image that we take in every video. And now I am saying a serene close-up of a ginger and white cat peacefully sleeping amongst delicate wildflower in a sunset meadow. Okay, let's see the output. Okay, I like that my shoulders have been converted into this some kind of, I don't know what is this white thing. And the cat is lying in my head. And oh, this is nice. How my neck has been camouflaged with cat's tail is really nice. So you see it can retain some parts of the input image and give you a total any outcome. So with denoising, you can really create wonderful things. Now let me try one more example. Okay, I'm going to take this building and I'm going to prompt something like a robotic arm, maybe something like that. So I'm just saying a detailed view of a robotic arm constructed with intricate mechanical parts, gear, nuts, bolts and things like that. And let's see what kind of output we get. Let's see the result. Oh, this is crazy good. Look at the amount of details. Okay. I'm getting carried away by the image generation. Okay, we don't see much of the architecture here. So that means we need to reduce the denoise value. So we say denoise of 0.6. So here you need to keep playing the number. You're never going to get the output that you're looking for in the first go. But you have to keep playing with the numbers and you will generate something amazing. Okay, let's see the output. Oof. Okay. Sorry, this looks really good. You see how the architecture is now made of robotic parts and the surrounding is kept as it is. This is really good. I divided initially by 3, so now you're seeing the output is this 800 by 800. But maybe if I divide by 2 and do one more run, I think that should be enough to show the capabilities of how denoising work with WAN 2.2. And now let's see the result. This has converted it into some kind of a machine, but still it understands the position of the architecture and then made into machine, and the rest of the context or the trees and the grass remain the same. So this is the final result. Damn, this is so good. This is so good. 1200 by 1200. This is really good. Can this be the cover of this video? Anyway, so you understand the capabilities of WAN text to image, they're really good, and pair that with the ability of denoising, adding an input image, you really get something that is really unexpected and really great. So please test its image generation capabilities. You will be really surprised. And this is workflow number 3. So now let's look at WAN's first last frame to video, which basically, like I said, you give it the first frame, a last frame, and WAN will create the in-between frames and give you the video. Okay. So if you go to ComfyUI, again go to templates, go to video, and this is what we want, WAN 2.2 first last frame to video. Now in this case, you will not use a T2V model, you will need to use I2V because it's converting image into video. So again, I'm going to use the same high noise and the low noise, but in this case, image to video. Okay, and now let's see some of the tests that I have done. So I'm using the same 4 images that I have used earlier. You will see the detailed prompt written on the left hand side. So here with the first frame of architecture and the second of this origami city, so it goes inside and now you see that car coming in. So nice. How nice is this first to last frame? And yes, it is ideal that you combine things of same concept, but I like to break things with AI. So I was like, let me take 2 things that are completely opposite and see how it works. Or in this case, with this cat and this exploded food, now you will see the output and it looks so good. It kind of feels like the cat is dreaming of this food and the food is falling. Really nice. Or in this case, I took these images of the denoising example where the food is converted into some architectural space, and this is what the output is. So good. You just add the start frame, end frame, you describe the prompt and you get the result. And this is how the workflow looks like. So this is a little bit complicated because you need to load 2 images, which is your first frame, the last frame. Then the prompt remain the same, including the text encoder. Now here is the part that comes new, which is your WAN first last frame to video. Okay. Then you have your same high noise with your K sampler plus model LoRa. You have your low noise with K sampler, model and LoRa. And then you have your video combined. Okay, before you make the workflow in ComfyUI, I wanted to compare this with different apps that have same feature of first and last frame. So we have Midjourney, Luma Dream Machine and Kling 2.1. I think this feature came to Kling around 2 days back. Like I said, we do very cutting edge technology on this channel. But anyway, let's see the results. I love the result from WAN 2.2. So nice. The same result you really get from Midjourney, you see. Zooms in and then the car drives. But I like the output from Midjourney, the way it is coherent. With Luma, really, I don't know. You can do this in Premiere as well. We don't need AI for this. With Kling 2.1, you can also add a sound effect. So I'm going to shut up and you can hear the sound as well. Isn't it nice? The way this has made the video, it is so nice. It goes through the tunnel of the architecture. That was really surprising. With WAN and Midjourney, they just transition, but the in-between frames that Kling generates has really good potential. Okay, and now let's say the cat and the food example. The first one, it goes inside the cat and the food falls. Really nice looking output. With Midjourney, you will see the cat turns his head and then the food comes up. Again, really great. With Luma, again, the outputs are really disappointing. You know, surprisingly, I would use this first last frame feature from Luma so much, and now I don't know why they are doing such bad results. I'm not sure. Maybe something I am doing wrong, who knows. Again with Kling, I'm gonna shut up so you can hear the music. Really nice. It's just like the food explodes and the cat goes down. Nice. In this case, I think I would prefer the result from WAN or Midjourney. And then the last one, which is transforming this food into architecture, we already saw with WAN. Does a really good job. The output from Midjourney is really surprising. You see how the trees pop? I really like the output. Again with Luma, it is disappointing. I'm sorry. I can't say anything about it. And with Kling, How nice. How amazing was this? See, you get this nice effect and things get converted. Really good. So I think Kling has kind of perfected the first to last frame to video generation, and I have seen a lot of results in the last 2 days on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. People are getting really great results, and the fact that you can add audio makes it even more special. So I think if I have to choose, I would go with Kling 2.1 the first, then with WAN, and then with Midjourney, because Midjourney gives you 4 options which are really good to select from. Okay, and now let's see how to do this in ComfyUI quickly. Okay, so I've opened ComfyUI again. I'm going to copy this script which we used for text to video that we made a couple of hours early. I'm going to bypass this, so I say Control B. Then we need to take load image 2 times, so I say load image. So I'm going to take this plan, and then I'm going to take a rendered version of this plan. So this is my last frame. And now here we need to take WAN first last frame to video. So now this is where your positive and negative go. So your prompts go here, and the output of this goes into both the K-sampler. As well, this goes to the latent. We don't need this empty latent union. And then these two become your first and last frame to image. So this is my first frame, this is my last frame, and then you can decide how many frames you want. In this case, I will do quickly. So I say 48, and what will be the resolution? So this is 2000 by 2500, which basically means 4 by 5. So I think 600 by 750 is a good 4:5 aspect ratio. Yes, of course, we need to change the prompt. So I'm going to change the prompt, and then we will run this. Okay, so basically the prompt is very simple. I just want a hand to come up and paintbrush this. So it has to paintbrush on this first image and reveal the second image. Okay, very simple. Let's run this. There is also VAE that we need to add in this node. So we need to connect the same VAE here, and then we run this. Oh, okay. Something is wrong. This is because I took T2V. There's a lot of time I make this mistake. So we have to take high noise for image to video, and then low noise again for image to video. I make this blunder always. I look at the screen for hours together and then realize, oh no, it had to be I2V and not T2V. Same way that happened here. Let me run this again. Okay, let me see the result. It's just a 2-second video, and yes, we get the hand and quickly paints it, and we get this. So it's so nice, so simple. Just add your first frame, your last frame, and whatever you want in between the transition to happen, and it will do it for you. You see, this is really nice. And just say this is done by me. Okay, one more try. And how many minutes does it take? So it took around 275 seconds. That's close to around more than 4 minutes. Close to in between 4 and 5 minutes. Not bad. Now what I want to do is I want to see if it transforms me into this cat. So I think let's keep it 752 by 752. And then we need to change the prompt. So I'm adding this prompt. I took this quickly from ChatGPT, just asked it to make a first to last frame morphing sequence, and this is the prompt, and I'm going to run this and see. Okay, let's see the output. No, not really what I was hoping for, but maybe there are some in between frames that overlap, and I can test it out later on. But you do understand, it's very simple. You add your first frame, you add your last frame, you add whatever the transition you want. You need to use words like transition or morphing and things like that, and then you will get a better result. So this is the 4th script that we did today, and I have made a couple of more examples to show you with this, and then we look at upscaling, and that's it. I know this is a more of a quick video because there is no technicalities in everything we have discussed in the previous video. So here are some more tests with the first last frame to video. Now in this case, I had this pattern and this C waves, and this is the prompt, and you will see how the pattern opens, the C wave comes, and then we get the output. Really nice. Or in this case, I converted this watermelon into this kind of a illustrated architectural space. So I said in the prompt, the watermelon has to come back and then explode it again to see this space. So you see it comes back and then we get this space. It's really nice. Something just to explore or show what your design thinking or the process was. I think this first last frame is really helpful. Coming to the last part, which is video upscaling. Now here I will be exploring 2 methods. The first method is using basic upscale model that could be your anime or ultra sharp. And in the second one, we will be using WAN's model to upscale it. So let's see the difference. So the first method, like I said, uses the upscale model. So in this case, you say load video, then you say upscale image using model, and you can select whichever model you have. and then you say upscale image by. So it can be 1 or half, and then you will get your output. Very simple, very straightforward process, nothing too complicated. To do this, we need one custom node, which is going to be ComfyUI Video Helper Suite. So you can download this and then you can make the entire workflow. And then you need to install the upscale model, whichever you like. So if you go to model manager in ComfyUI and type upscale, you will see all of these models. I will again link my upscaling video here so you can choose a better model for your needs. And then comparing side by side the original and the upscaled video. Here I'm upscaling this by 4 times and it took around 4 minutes. This is a 4-second video and let's see the output. I'll play it side by side so you can see the difference. And clearly you will notice how much more details are there in this video. For instance, if you see this tree here, it is so dull and blurry versus this tree has more details to it. So I have cropped this video and zoomed in, and then you can see details here as well. So you see this is the original versus the upscale. I'll play it again and you see the difference, and it takes only 4 minutes. So if your input video already has details, this is a very simple method to do it. Okay, or in this case of the cat example, again, the original versus the upscaled video. When you zoom out, you don't see much difference, but let me zoom into the cat's face. You will see how dull this original result is versus the upscaled. And if I play this, you will clearly notice the difference. You clearly notice the difference between the sharpness in the cat's eyes, the fur looks better and things like that. Okay, so that is with method 1. Very simple, just using an upscale model. Now the method 2 actually uses the latent space or diffusion space with the WAN, and this is what the workflow looks like. So if you notice, this is exactly the same workflow we used for denoising, where we added image, denoised, and then we got the output. This is exactly same. Only thing, we are not doing image to image, here we are doing video to video. So we first load our video, then we have our prompts using a text encoder. Now in the positive prompt, you can only write something like masterpiece, detailed, high quality. You don't need to describe what you want to upscale. And then below that you have your upscaling. So you have to specify how much you want to upscale it. Maybe it's 1.5 times, 2 times and things like that. Then you have your K-sampler, models and LoRa's. In this case, we are only using a low noise model, and then you have video combined. Very simple. And now let's see the output. So this is upscaling 1.5 times, but takes 18 minutes. You have to understand, because it has to go into the entire diffusion process. But you will see right off the bat, there are some details added to it. Like there was no water drop here. There is a water drop added here and things like that. Let me play them side by side. And you will notice, yes, of course, there is more details added to it, but I am not sure if 18 minutes is justified in this case. Okay, let me play the cropped version where I have zoomed in, and you will see, yes, there are details, but I'm not sure 18 minutes is justified. Okay, but the case is completely different in the cat's example. Now here you will see this output looks way better, way realistic than the input. You see near the cat's eyes, this looks a little cartoony, but this looks realistic. Even in case of the bee looks blur here, but is little bit more focused. Let me zoom into the cat's head and you will notice what I'm saying. So this output looks more realistic. Let me play this. You see how realistic this output looks compared to this one. Okay, and only thing we are really changing here is the denoising value. An ideal number I have noticed is between 0.15 to 0.25. If you go above this, you will get completely different. If you go below this, you will get a blurry result. Okay, so I wanted to compare both the methods with the original video, and let's see the differences. So this one is our original video. This is model upscale and this is latent upscale. Okay, I'm going to play all of these. And you can choose. If it was up to me, I would choose for architectural one this 4-minute one, because it adds more details to it clearly. Okay, but again, I'll show the cat example. It is very different. Now in case of the cat, you would want to choose this one, because here you see this fur looks very gimmicky. It doesn't look realistic, but here in this case, this fur looks really, really good. So I think it depends on case to case basis which method you would like to use. So let's quickly see how to do that in ComfyUI, and that will be it. So I have opened ComfyUI, and now let's quickly see how to do the upscaling workflow. The first thing is that you say load video. Let me select a video quickly. Okay, so I've selected this first last frame to video that we did early on. And now let's see some of the parameters here. The first is going to be the name of your file. The second is what is your frame rate. You don't have to change it. Then width and height, don't need to change it. Then frame load cap. which basically means how many frames you want to select for your next processes. So let's say I take 10, and you will see I only take the first 10 frames. I generally like to keep this to 5 to 10 when I'm testing something and then use the entire video. Then you have skip first frame. So how many first frames do you want to skip? If there is anything specific you want to upscale, you can do that as well. So if I keep 10 here, so you will see it has skipped the first 10 frames and now it is doing the next 10 frames. Okay. And then the next is called select every nth. So you have, let's say 24 frames. You want to select every alternate. So you say 2, you select 2 here. And now you see it selects every alternate frame, but the video becomes slow. So if you have a video that is, let's say 30 frames per second, you can select every alternate so it becomes 15 frames per second and the generation time is faster. Okay. So let me keep it to like that and then let's upscale it. So we say upscale image using model, and now here I'll use simply ultra sharp, and then I will say again upscale image by. So I only want to double the resolution. So here I will say 0.5 and then we say video combine. Now here I will say 16 frames per second and this has to be H.264. Okay. One thing that I missed was you need to change the format to whichever is the video that you have selected. In this case, it's WAN, and I'm going to quickly run this. So we only have 9 frames. It should be quick. Let's look at the output and you will see there are more details to it. The input video itself is not that great, but if you see side by side, you see how blurry this is, and this has more sharpness to it because we are using an ultra sharp model. So this is method 1, very simple, quick result. It took how many? It took 31 seconds, 10 frames. So per frame around 3 seconds, not bad at all. Okay, so that was method 1. Now let's look at method 2. So I'm going to copy the denoising workflow that I did. So I'm say Control C, Control V. First, let me delete the group. Then let me unbypass it. Control B. Then I don't need all of this. So I'm going to delete all of this. Then we need to take the load video. So I'm going to copy from the method 1 quickly. And then we say Control B to bypass. And then we say upscale image by how many ever times you want to upscale. I will say 1.5 because this has to go to latent space. So it's going to take much time to upscale. And then this goes to VAE encode. And lastly, we need to combine it. So I'm going to again take video combine and simply from VAE decode, this goes to video combine. And the rest of it I can delete it. Now we need to change some things in K-sampler. Seed can be fixed, doesn't matter. Steps, I will make it 4. CFG 1. Denoise, like I said, ideally between 0.15 and 0.25 is good. I will keep it to 0.2. Then we need to change the model sampling. I will keep it to 8. And we need to change the positive prompt. So you can say like detailed video and things like that. So you add your generic positive prompt for upscaling and then we can run this. Let's see the result. So this is my load video, this is my output, and yes, we have more details added to it, but it has broken this. But in terms of details, you see this, especially let's focus at the dining table. This was blurry and now we get a better result, but we see a little bit of noise happening here. I think it's because of the water brush effect that we have. I'm going to take a different video. Okay, let me take this transforming video and then let's see the output. In the previous video, the time it took was around 1 minute. So not bad at all. But again, it was only 9 frames. Imagine like 90 frames. That's going to be into 10. Okay, and let's see the result. So you will see in the cat, there is more details added to it. This is not the best frame that I could have taken. Maybe I should skip it to 15 or 16, 17, 18. Okay, let's keep something like this and see how it upscales. I'm also going to make this 5. Okay, let's see this output, and clearly you will notice the upscale has done its job. You see the details to the cat eyes, its fur, all of these flowers look so good upscaling it. And this I've only made it to load at 5 frames because I don't want to hang my computer. But from the examples that I showed you, this actually works. Especially when things are like animals, humans, this is a really good way to upscale. And yeah, so you can test this method out as well. So I would generally suggest go with the method 1. It takes very less time. But if you feel like no, you want super high details, then go with the method 2. Because each frames are going through the latent space and upscaling rather than simply adding an upscaling model to it. And that's it. We have come finally to the end of this video. So what all did we look at? So first we looked at WAN's capabilities of text to video. which I think is okay, not really great, but none of the other comparison also are great. Then we looked at its ability for text to image, which is really good. I would highly recommend to use it. And then using the denoising value, again kind of getting a in-between space of your input image versus prompt, really nice. Then we looked at how to use the first last frame to video, again really nice result. Then we looked at upscaling by simple method using the upscale model. You see the difference is quite drastic, really good simple upscaling by model. And then we looked at upscaling using the diffusion process, and here this looks really great. So that kind of covers the entire WAN 2.2 that I wanted to show you. There is one more thing which we will discuss some other time. Let me go quickly to my presentation and end this video, which I have been recording for 4 hours. If you might have noticed behind, there was a sunlight and now it's become completely dark. Let me go back to my presentation quickly. So what did we cover? We covered image to video, we covered text to video, text to image, first last frame to video, and video upscaling. In entirety, this is almost done with WAN 2.2, and I wanted to give you some concluding remarks. Very important. So in conclusion, what do we need to remember from WAN 2.2? The first one is that there are multiple use cases. I would not use WAN 2.2 or any video generation model for text to video. Use it for image to video, text to image, and first last frame to video. And with respect to so many models that has always use a distill LoRa, use a 2.1, 2.2 doesn't matter, and use a GUF model depending upon the CPU and the computer configuration that you have. Then always be descriptive with your prompt. Follow a prompt structure but not the order. You don't have to say that subject, background and camera. No, you can say that background plus camera can combine and then subject. That is also fine. Don't stick to the order but give as descriptive prompt as possible, because we are using a text encoder. You can go to 400 words, utilize it. Okay. And then the next one is frames per second. Please don't go below 16. You will not get good result. Ideal is 16 or 24. Then this, please choose correctly. Today also you saw in the video, I used some other one. So see to it that when you are using image to video, use I2V, text to video, use T2V. Okay. And the last and the most important thing is use it responsibly. There is a lot of scam, deepfake that especially is happening in the realm of video generation. So please use it carefully. Don't hurt anyone or don't use it for spread misinformation, because like they say, with great power comes great responsibility. So use it carefully and be responsible the way you're using it. And I think that's it. That is my take on WAN 2.2 in these 2 videos. I hope you like this. If you make something, you can always share and tag me. I'm always happy to see what you make with this. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for your time. Please do like, share and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.